Have you ever just stopped and wondered, has the future already happened? I know it sounds wild, but today we're diving into one of the most mind-bending questions in all of science and philosophy.
So let me ask you this. What if your entire life isn't a story you're writing as you go, but a book that's already finished? I mean, every single decision you'll ever make, every moment you'll experience, what if it already exists? Not as some kind of prediction, but as a cold, hard fact.
Yeah, it's kind of like thinking of yourself as a character in a movie that's already been filmed. The whole thing is complete, right? From the opening credits all the way to the final scene. Now, the characters inside the movie, they experience the story moment by moment, but the entire narrative, past, present, and future, it all exists at the same time on that reel of film. Could our universe actually work the same way?
To even begin to wrap our heads around that, we've got to do something kind of tough. We need to challenge what we think we know about time itself.
You know, this is the stuff we take for granted every single day. We just assume that my clock ticks at the same rate as your clock, that if we watch a movie, we both agree it was about 2 hours long, and most importantly, that right now is a shared moment for all of us, everywhere. But what if that fundamental agreement? What if it's just a convenient illusion?
Well, it turns out that's exactly what Albert Einstein showed us. His theory of relativity didn't just tweak our understanding of time. It took a sledgehammer to it. Let's see how.
And this right here, this is the absolute game changer. The idea of a single shared present moment that just ticks forward for everybody, according to relativity, it just doesn't exist. Your now is not necessarily my now. And this isn't some trick of perception. It's a fundamental property of how space-time actually works.
This is where things get really, really weird. Let's say you're standing perfectly still in your present moment, your now, and alien fleet way over in the Andromeda galaxy has not yet decided to launch an attack on Earth. Okay, but for someone who is just walking past you, their motion, even that tiny bit, actually tilts their slice of now through space-time. For them, in their present, that very same fleet has already launched, and according to relativity, both of you are completely correct.
And let's be super clear about this. This has nothing to do with how long it takes light to travel from Andromeda. We wouldn't be able to see either event for millions of years. This is a debate about what is actually happening in each person's present moment. And relativity says there's no single right answer.
Okay, so if there's no universal now, what does that even mean for everything? It leads us to one of the most famous and, deeply controversial models of the universe ever dreamed up. It's called the block universe theory. If there's no special, universal present moment, then the distinction between past, present, and future kind of falls apart. So this theory takes that idea all the way. It suggests that time is just another dimension, a fourth dimension, just as real as length, width, and height. In this picture, every single moment that has ever happened or ever will happen, from the Big Bang to the heat death of the universe, it all already exists.
Here's a way to think about it that might help. Imagine you're standing on a street in a huge city. The entire city exists all around you, right? Even the parts you can't see. You're just experiencing one location at a time. The block universe says time is exactly the same. We are just experiencing one moment at a time, but all the other moments, past and future, are just as real.
And you know, it's not just physicists wrestling with this stuff. Philosophers have been thinking about it for ages. Presentism, that's our gut feeling. Only now is real. The growing block theory is kind of a compromise, where the past is real and fixed, but the future hasn't happened yet. But eternalism, this idea that past, present, and future are all equally real, that lines up perfectly with the block universe that relativity seems to be pointing to.
Okay, but we gotta hit pause for a second here. This is super important. While Einstein's theory of relativity has been tested and confirmed again and again and again, the block universe itself is an interpretation of what that theory means. It's a powerful idea for sure, but a lot of physicists and philosophers are still debating whether it's the right conclusion to draw.
And there's a huge reason for that debate. Because the other great pillar of modern physics, quantum mechanics, well, it seems to tell a completely different story about how reality works.
Yeah, see, unlike the neat deterministic clockwork of relativity, the quantum world is fuzzy. It's unpredictable. At its very core, it seems to have a fundamental randomness baked right into it. Events aren't set in stone. They're governed by probabilities.
This whole idea has a name: quantum indeterminacy.
It suggests the future isn't some fixed road that we're just walking down. It's more like a branching set of potential pathways, a shimmering cloud of possibilities. And it's only when an event is actually measured or observed that one of those possibilities collapses into a single definite reality.
But, it's never that simple, is it? Just like with relativity, what quantum mechanics really means is still up for debate. For example, the many worlds idea suggests that every possible outcome does happen, just each in its own separate universe. And in a really weird way, that could also be seen as a kind of grand branching determinism. So physics doesn't just hand us an easy answer here.
Okay, so let's pull back from these massive cosmic ideas for a second and bring it all the way back down to us, to one of the most personal questions we could possibly ask. Do we actually have free will?
Because this is really the dilemma at the heart of it all, isn't it? If the block universe is real, if the future is already out there, then what does that mean for our decisions? Are we genuinely choosing our path through life, or are we just actors playing out a script that's already been written?
Think about a pretty normal life choice, right? Like you get a job offer. From your perspective, that decision feels totally genuine. You weighed the pros and cons, you thought about it, and you made a choice. But a determinist would say that choice was actually inevitable. It was the unavoidable result of every single event and influence in your entire life leading up to that exact moment. Your choice was always going to be what it was.
So, this is where we're at. We're left with this incredible tension at the very foundation of modern physics. On one hand, you've got relativity, pushing us towards this fixed, eternal block universe. On the other hand, you've got quantum mechanics, which seems to scream that the future is open and full of possibilities. And trying to get these two ideas to play nice together, that's one of the biggest unsolved problems in all of science. Right now, there's just no final verdict.
But this isn't a dead end. Not at all. The search for answers is pushing scientists in even stranger territory. I'm talking about ideas like time itself being made of tiny individual chunks, or even retrocausality, the totally wild idea that events in the future could ripple backward to influence the past. I mean, if any of that turns out to be true, it would change everything.
Ultimately, the science leaves us with this profound question about ourselves. Are we just the inevitable outcome of some perfect cosmic equation? Or is our consciousness, that feeling of making a choice, is that a genuine wild card in the universe? The science is not settled, and that means the question is still open for all of us. So what do you think? Is the future a fixed landscape we're all just traveling through? Or is it an unwritten page we help create with every single choice we make?